There are a lot of reasons that you might not want to invest for retirement this year. As a financial coach, I deal with a lot of people who are trying to get themselves in a position to invest money for retirement. And a lot of times it's just not the smart thing to do because they aren't ready yet. Here are a few reasons why this might be the case for you as well. Let's go. Number one, if you're trying to save a down payment to buy a house. As you guys know, the housing market is still very tough for people to buy a home. And it's hard to save a good down payment when 10 to 15% of your income is being put towards retirement accounts. So let's say you're a first-time home buyer and the typical starter home is around $240,000. With a 5% down payment, that's still $12,000. Let's say closing costs are another 2% or $4,800. That's almost $17,000 a first-time home buyer would have to come up with. That's very hard for a lot of people to do. And you definitely don't want to have to do those zero down loans because they're riskier and usually come with higher mortgage interest rates, which will cost you more in the long run. I find it very helpful to put all your focus around one goal for a certain period of time. It's a lot easier to save for a house when that's the only thing that you're focused on. You actually achieve your goals a lot quicker because you can feel that progress is being made, so you don't give up. And a lot of times people try to do everything at once. They want to get out of debt, they want to save for retirement, buy a house, pay for kids' private school, go on vacation. But usually it's counterproductive. So if you're trying to buy a house, it's a smart idea to stop investing for retirement for a couple years while you focus on getting your family into a home. Now, the next reason you might not want to invest for retirement is if you're saving for school. Now, I'm not the one to say that everyone should go to college. I think that's ridiculous and counterproductive for a lot of people. However, if you do decide to go to college, the right move for you might be holding off on retirement savings so you can make sure you have enough money to get through school. If you're gonna major in something that makes good money, like a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, then financial benefits to going to school far outweigh any returns you could get in the market. Going back to school and getting my MBA almost doubled my income immediately after graduation. So it was a great investment for me, and that's the case for a lot of people. So getting through school should be the first priority instead of investing for retirement in many cases. Another reason not to invest for retirement is if you don't have any money in savings at all, or you don't have enough in savings. If you don't have any money in savings, you don't need to be investing in retirement accounts. There's just no reason for it because there's more important things to take care of first. One of those things is building an emergency fund. When you have retirement accounts but no emergency fund, what ends up happening is that you're either forced to charge up your credit cards or you have to borrow money from those retirement accounts if an emergency comes up. And neither of those options are good. You don't want credit card debt, and borrowing from your 401k isn't a good idea either. First, when you borrow from your 401k, you have to pay that money back with interest. Yes, that money is going back into your retirement account because you borrowed from yourself, but that only partially offsets the loss and gains that you would have gotten by leaving the money in there in the first place. And it can be hard to come up with that extra money as well. The second issue with 401k loans is that if you were to get laid off at your job or leave your job for any reason, you have to pay back that loan in full by the next filing deadline. If you don't, you'll be considered in default and have to pay your tax rate plus a 10% penalty if you haven't reached 59.5. You don't want to be put in that position, so having a full 3 to 6 month emergency fund saved up is a good idea. And in addition to your emergency fund, you also want to make sure you have enough savings to cover any large annual expenses that are coming up soon, like car insurance or vehicle taxes, for example. This is critical before you even think about investing for retirement. Again, you don't want to have to put money on your credit cards to pay for these expenses. The next reason you might not want to invest for retirement is if you're living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of times people hear these interesting ideas like pay yourself first and take it out of context. Now, first, pay yourself first basically means focusing on savings and investing first before anything else. But it's not a great idea to focus on investing when you're so close to not even being able to pay your bills. When you live paycheck to paycheck, one bad month can quickly send you into debt. It's important to first build margin in your budget so that you're not barely keeping your head above water. Nobody wants that kind of stress, and again, it puts you in a position of potentially needing to borrow from your retirement accounts if you have a bad month. That's not a good idea. The next reason you might not want to start investing for retirement is if you're in debt. Again, this is another one that many of my clients struggle with. They feel like they're getting left behind with retirement savings, so they want to invest before paying down their debt. However, this is usually because they don't have a clear picture of how much they owe and how much they're paying in interest. A lot of people are also just hopeless when it comes to large amounts of debt, and they feel like there's no way out of it. So they just ignore it and move on to the next goal of retirement investing. But again, what's the point of getting 10% returns in the market when you're paying 24% in interest on your credit cards? I always try to make sure I'm doing things in the right order so that I'm not causing an even bigger mess down the road. So it's a good idea to get out of debt before worrying about investing for retirement and retirement planning. The next reason is sort of a mix. It's not a reason not to invest for retirement accounts, but it is a good reason to not invest too much. And that's if you want to retire early. You can't pull money out of your retirement accounts unless you're 59 and a half. It's a little different when you have Roth accounts, but generally speaking, you have to wait until 59 and a half. So if you want to retire at 45 or 50, you might want to think of other options on top of your retirement accounts. Once you have enough money going towards retirement every month in order to cover your lifestyle after 59 and a half, then you need to start thinking about the years before that. If you want to retire early, it's a good idea to invest money into regular brokerage accounts. No, there aren't any tax benefits for these accounts, but they do allow you to pull money out anytime you want. So when you hit that 45 or 50-year birthday, you can start using the money to live off of. Now, a lot of people think they're gonna retire early, or at least they want to. But you know, life doesn't always go the way you plan. So that's why it's a good idea to do this on top of investing for retirement accounts and not instead of. You don't want to be left without the right amount of savings when you reach the traditional retirement age. Now, while it's not a good idea for everyone to be investing in retirement accounts right now, everyone should aim to get to the point where they can do that. If you aren't there yet, comment or message me the word retire, and we can set a strategy to get you in a position to start thinking about future retirement savings.